Hey, what's up, everybody? Justin here. Hope you guys are having an awesome day so far. I was actually looking at my Instagram page and scrolling through the feed this morning, and I came up to a friend of mine. She's a corporate trainer. She helps people build better teams, and what she was putting on her feed was sometimes as a leader, it's okay to be a follower. And I wrote back because I follow this fairly dearly here at the studio, and it's one of the things that I do really help other entrepreneurs understand is that to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. I've followed this mantra for a long time, and maybe about half a year ago, I got a book from a good friend of mine, Mark Huggin, who owns Phantom Couriers, and it was Jocko Willink's book, The Dichotomy of Leadership. And it was a great book, and it sort of brought to me some reinforcement about the way that I run leadership. And so if you have a chance, go check it out. It's a great book, a good read. I'm generally fairly horrible at citing books, so if I cite a book, I think it's worth a read. I'm hoping that anything that I do say or whatever, you guys understand that I eat, breathe, and sleep that stuff before I put it out here on video. What I mean by being a good leader is, being able to be a good follower is really that there's so many people in management and or leadership positions that really just run a dictatorship. And by doing so, you really stifle what your team brings to market with you. You don't give them the opportunity to be creative, and you don't get their full buy-in, their full feedback, because they're just robots. They're just doing what you tell them to do. And to inspire people to be more, to do more, and to take on more challenges without you having to ask, it comes from following. So, case in point, there are times where I will put another team member in charge and follow their instructions, and give them an opportunity to learn. Sometimes they make mistakes, and that's okay. I'm there to support them through those mistakes and not to reprimand them, because inevitably, if you don't give them that opportunity, they're never going to learn. They're never going to get better, and that doesn't serve you or them any better or any more. So it's one thing for you to be a control freak, to put your hand on absolutely everything, but to really gain the respect and to really grow your team and give them the confidence in you as a leader, and know that you trust them. And so to be a good leader and to have your team know and trust where you're going, give people in your organization the opportunity to learn, and learn in a safe environment. I think that's the most important part. If you don't give them a safe environment to learn, they're just not going to want to mess up. They're not going to want to fuck up in front of you. And that won't make them grow, and that'll stifle their imagination, their creativity, their drive, their motivation. Give them the opportunity, know that you're going to be there hand in hand, guiding them through the process and making them learn their own decisions. Like, let them go all the way through. You can query them about their thought processes and whatever, to speak out loud as they're filtering through it. But you shouldn't be telling them what to do in that scenario. You should really guide them and give them those principles. And if and maybe never, it might not happen, but if that person does veer off the wrong path and is headed straight for the disaster zone, if it's safe, let them crash and burn, and then use that as a learning lesson. I mean, if there's some instances where that's not going to be an okay place for them to learn, and you might have to take over the reins, to keep on task or to make sure that your project goes to completion properly. But sometimes letting a person fail and letting them, crash and burn, gives them and you an opportunity to talk it out, go through that thought process, and then be able to instill some of the principles that maybe you've already talked about, but they ignored or they forgot about. And it's a great way to reinforce it. So one of the stories that we've got is actually not too long ago. We had a really, keen young guy, and we were grooming him to take on the camera. He started off as an editor, and one of the things that we teach everybody here at the studio is that when you pack your stuff, you're responsible for packing all of it. And if somebody's helped you pre-pack stuff, you should take it out, make sure everything is there, pack it back up, and then take it with you. It's just to double check, so to speak. And so this one event, it was just a short, simple interview he was supposed to go out to do. And, he grabbed the gear, somebody at the studio helped pack for him, and he assumed that everything there was packed, went out and did it, and came back in the editing suite. He was nervous. He was ready to break down and cry. And Laura, our central coordinator, kind of queried and said, what's going on? And what happened was he forgot the lav mic, and in a loud environment that can be detrimental to any production, especially if you're trying to get good audio. And he feared, that he was going to get in trouble. And rightfully so. I mean, like, you're sent out to a location to do it, and, that you're expected to come back with good stuff. But I also know that when I sent him that, it'll be a learning opportunity, and if something didn't really go right, we would be able to fix it. So in any case, going back to it, I finally get a phone call to come down to take a look at the work, and he's literally shaking. He's ready to break down and cry. And he explained to me that he didn't have a mic and that he thought he could overcome it by using and piecemealing some other things in the equipment box, and it just didn't work out in his favor. And I didn't reprimand him, I didn't yell at him. I simply reinforced the first piece of dialogue, which, I taught him. And I go, do you remember one of the first things that I tell you to do when you're packing, your bags, or if somebody's packed it for you? And he was able to say that, yeah, you're supposed to double check and make sure everything is in the bag and ready to go, and don't assume, because it makes an ass out of you and me. So he knew, and the fact that he tried to be resourceful, I commended him for trying it, and offered him some other solutions that he could have done in the event that were to happen again. In this case, I knew that we could go back and reshoot it, and I personally made him. Or I personally apologized on our behalf to go and redo it, but I made the staff member send out an apology in himself and offer to go back out to to video it. But it's a learning experience, and that's one that he'll take with him to the grave, and he wouldn't have learned it any faster or any better without having to stumble, fall, and really go through that motion. And have the living fear struck into him. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't want a person in here to be fearful of that. But it is one of those things that, if he didn't, not properly pack his stuff and it just kept going on, he wouldn't see the real importance of it. And that, when I send that to, when I tell that to another new person who comes onto the studio, he'll be able to share that story. As proof in the pudding of why I implemented the policy, and that it wasn't just for show, or that it wasn't just as a whim because I felt like it. And I think what it also reinforces to him is that a lot of the things that we do implement here at the studio have a rhyme and reason. And if he doesn't understand it, that he is now confident in asking us, why we do certain things. And he knows that I'm always open to refining and making that process better. And that I'm more than willing to go up to bat and play devil's advocate. And if I'm proven wrong, I'm more than happy to accept that. And I'm more than happy to acknowledge that, somebody has found something that is better and more effective than something that I personally created and or put down in a standard operating procedure here at the studio. So it's important to be able to follow and to do things and to allow others in your organization to shine and be leaders, because a good leader helps foster other people to be good leaders. If we're on set and I have another camera operator who is going to be my primary, and I'm there for the helping hand, I let them make the decisions. And we try to promote in the environment that you ask questions and that you can confer with your mates to yield a better result. And there are times where I don't solicit my own opinion, and I'll let that person go through it, until they struggle, and then they'll come and ask me for an option or a solution, and I'll provide my own suggestion. But if they ask me to pick up a camera and move it there, or if I could capture a different angle that they're anchored on and they want me to go somewhere else, I'm more than happy to do it, and I'll just follow the instructions as they see fit. And then give them an opportunity to review all of that, go through the motions, go through the decision making, because that's how they're going to grow. And it gives them an opportunity to really take charge, really grab the bull by the horns and take the initiative to be a leader. And by fostering that environment, I'll foster a team of people who want to be great leaders for the next generation of people who come in underneath them. Anyways, I hope you liked this tidbit. If you liked it, please subscribe, follow us here, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Feel free to DM us, it'll help us, maybe create other videos that might be more useful to you. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed this, and I look forward to giving you another tidbit another day. So until then, have an awesome day, rock it, and I'm just gonna go finish my coffee. Hey, take care.